what is justice? So justice, as a definition, is meant to ensure the safety of everyone and that appropriate consequences are applied in terms of the law when something is done. Now, when we're talking about these topics like domestic abuse, false allegations, parental alienation, whenever I talk to people, and myself included in the past, and I talk to men, I talk to women, there's always this thing that gets raised of they want justice. So when going through the court or for what's happened to them, there's always this feeling we want justice for what happened. And I have my own personal take on this, and this is just my opinion, but I thought it would be worthwhile to just give my opinion and share my thoughts on this. So I look at it in a very different way. I don't believe there is such a thing as justice when it comes to this. Now, let's take domestic abuse as an example. You're in an abusive relationship for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever the case may be. The harm that is done to you psychologically, mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, it's absolute total destruction of your soul. So let's say, if you take my situation, 10 years, and you look at it and you go, I want justice for that. What is justice? So maybe you go through court and you go through all the things, and that person gets found guilty of abuse, and they maybe go to jail for 2 years, 3 years, maybe. They might get a slap on the wrist. They probably get let out earlier for good behavior, or not put in at all because the prisons are overcrowded. But, even if let's say they get 4 years in prison, which would be like a maximum sentence that they might get for this. 4 years in prison for 10 years of your life going through domestic abuse and all these horrific things. The rest of your life for probably PTSD, nightmares, coping mechanisms, yes, you can heal, but it's always with you. So that's not justice. That is not proportionate consequences for what has been done. What that is punishment. And while everyone who goes through this abusers should be punished for what they do. So, I'm not against the punishment side of it. But I do think we have to look at this and think it's not justice, because what you get is not the same as what they took. If you've had your children kept from you for 5 years, 10 years, and you haven't got to see your children because of parental alienation, or they've made a false allegation against you and you've lost your job, lost your friends, lost your family, become homeless, had to start again, and they go to jail for 4 years, for example, it's just not justice. And I don't think that concept of justice in this case truly exists, because the severity of the crime being done to you is life-changing. It stays with you long after the period that it's happened. And it's similar in a lot of other cases for a lot of other crimes. But focusing on this topic, I just think that we can't look at it as justice. We can look at it as potential punishment, potential repercussions for the person who's done these things. But I look at the situation of saying, you've abused someone for 10 years, you've withheld their children from them, you've made up lies about them, you've ruined their life, you've caused them probably health problems, mental health problems, you've inflicted terrible pain upon them, they have nightmares, you're going to jail for a couple of years. That, I look at if you weigh it up with the scales, and to me it's not justice, it is just a little form of punishment. But I'd be very interested to hear other people's opinions. I think the concept of justice just doesn't exist in this case, but maybe I'm cynical, but that is my personal view, and it would be really interesting to hear what people have to say about it. I just think it's an interesting topic to talk about, because it is something we all want, but I think it's something that's out of reach for a lot of people.